We're standing in Radley Park in Woolston. There's a group of community here that are activating this space. We've given it the name of Roimata Food Commons. We would like the space to become, a touching point for community together. And one of the ways that we feel that we can do that is to grow food here. And one of the wonderful things that we found out once we started looking into the history of this land is that this land actually has a relationship that holds people and food and all that can come from that. So even pre-European settlement, it used to be a mahinga kai site for local iwi. So the river that runs through the park here and this particular stretch actually is an important whitebait spawning area. So it's a place where people would have come to harvest fish from the river. And also you can see, looking along the banks as well, that there's lots of harakiki and there would have been other native timbers growing here as well that would have been a really important resource for local iwi. And then after settlement, it was actually turned into a farm called Isis Farm, which has different connotations these days. What's the name of the Egyptian goddess of agriculture? And it is actually the name of the river that runs through the Oxford University, which is where Edward Kent and Isaac Clarke, who bought the land, actually attended university together. And they were the ones that grew oats and wheat and turnips on this land. We've actually got little classifieds from 1852 from the Littleton Times advertising 250 bushels of wheat for sale that was grown on this land. And so it became public land in the 1950s when the owners passed away, Alfred and Hannah Gates. And they actually left it to the council and stipulated that 50% of it was to be used for the well-being of the community. And so we very much feel like that this was an empty canvas for us to come in and start figuring out ways to actually add that level of well-being to the community. So this area we're going to turn into a community garden with some alternative growing techniques, which will run as workshops for people to come and learn how we can use natural resources that don't cost money to actually provide all the nutrients that we need to grow food. And we've got a food forest developing sort of down through the rest of the park as well. Whatever we do in this park has to be reflective of what the community needs. And it's the same with any public space across the city. You know, we've got an amazing number of parks in Christchurch. A lot of them are not utilised, and there's a real opportunity to create ways for community to actually develop those pieces of land that help increase their own level of well-being. It's all quite different and quite individual. We all face different issues and different pressures in our lives, and so whatever happens in these spaces needs to be reflective and help people to get past those roadblocks that they're facing. The critical next step for Roimata is to actually turn our project manager's role into a paid part-time position for the next 6 months to see if we can activate the community around this project to a greater extent than we already have, and see how we can actually deliver some real-life benefits to the community around us. And the way that we really want to achieve that is to do that with a crowdfunding campaign. This will allow the local citizens and local businesses to really get behind what we're doing. It will also allow people from further afield to get behind us. We feel like that's a really exciting prospect. We really look forward to you supporting us to help us create a vision for community sufficiency and how that can actually have a really big impact on the well-being not only of the people living in the area but the entire ecosystem.